It's rivalry week. Before we start talking about Colorado, let's talk about South Alabama. Sean, offensively, obviously that's the sticking point for a lot of Husker fans. What went wrong and how do you fix it?
Yeah, a few things. I think not having Maurice Washington out of the gates, that hurt the rhythm of the offense because I felt like he would have helped them early on establish a better early down running game rhythm. And then secondly, the offensive line wasn't winning. South Alabama only ran 4 blitzes the entire game on Nebraska, so it wasn't like they were bringing a lot of extra heat. They just had everybody kind of packed in tightly, and Nebraska's offensive line was getting beat consistently by 3- and 4-man fronts. And when you're getting beat by 3- and 4-man fronts, that means 7 or 8 guys are going to be dropped back in the pass defense. And a lot of times on those obvious passing downs, they had so much extra coverage back there when Martinez was taking off to run as well. They had other guys ready to get him. So I just felt like the early down problems really set them up for a long day.
How does Nebraska fix its snapping woes?
That was an interesting one to me because you would think that that's something they do already in practice. So I don't know how in 1 week's time you just correct it other than just settling down. I think Cameron Jurgens hadn't played in a football game. You know, he played a little bit in one game last year, but you think back, he hadn't played really in a full game since high school, and then you put your first game ever as an offensive lineman in your life. I think there are a lot of nerves. I still think Jurgens is the guy. I still think he is their best option, but he's got to get that snapping thing figured out.
Yeah, the Huskers ran it for just 98 yards on Saturday. Defensively, though, they were fantastic. 5 turnovers. It matches a high in the Scott Frost era. But I thought it was interesting Monday when all the defensive guys who we talked to said, hey, yeah, we were decent, but we can get better.
Yeah, I think there are still those little things they want to get cleaned up. They got the turnovers, but they still gave up 15 first downs, Andy. That's far too many, especially to a team like South Alabama. They did not get off the field on some key third down situations at times, and that's something I think that they've got to get corrected going forward.
Yeah, they got outgained by South Alabama, 314 to 276. Now, they have a test in front of them with Colorado. This Buffalo team's dynamic offensively. They put up 50-plus against their rival Colorado State over the weekend.
And it's a new coaching staff, so a new team to prepare for as far as their schemes go. And I think they've gone to more traditional pro style versus a spread like they were before. So some different things offensively you'll see the Buffs come out in, but they still have got the same players, Katie Nixon and Laviska Chenault at receiver, Steven Montez, and then Fontenot, their running back, had a really good week 1 for them. So they struggled last year at times, I think, to get a consistent running game, and Fontenot showed week 1 that he might be the guy.
Yeah, Fontenot going for 125 and 3 touchdowns on offense. Defensively, though, they're going to give up some points, it looks like, which is a little bit of a head scratcher because Mel Tucker has a defensive background.
Yeah, I listened to their game on the radio on Thursday last week, and Gary Barnett, the former CU coach, is the color analyst, and he could, from the press box, call out their misalignments, and he was saying, this is going to be a big play here, this is going to be a touchdown, we're not lined up right. And you just got the sense there were a lot of those game 1 alignment issues. And if I'm Scott Frost, that's what I'm looking at. Like, if they get in a rhythm, you've got to get Colorado confused and get their alignments wrong defensively, and then that's where the big plays hopefully can happen for Nebraska.
For Nebraska, going on the road, how beneficial will this game 1 be, looking at it what we did from last year? And they really struggled against Colorado at times.
I think it's going to be one of those games as a player you really appreciate the Nebraska fan base even more, and you're going to get up for it. When you get out there and over half that stadium, and I believe that. I believe over half the stadium will be red. I think there'll be more Nebraska fans there than Colorado fans based on the lack of success Colorado's had and how much Nebraska fans want these tickets and how much they want to go out there. And as a team, I think that's going to get these guys fired up to play harder and give them a spark. And I think the bad game last week against South Alabama for the offense, that's motivated them. And it was the wake-up call they couldn't have a year ago. They didn't have the Akron game where they could have done this and got out all the garbage. They had that game, and now you hope they move forward.
All right, here's a question for you as we close it up. Last Husker road win against a non-conference opponent?
Wyoming?
Fresno State.
Fresno State.
5 years ago. How about that? And then how about the last road win
Wyoming
period?
was 2011.
Last road win period.
Illinois.
No, at Purdue.
At
2 years
ago. Oh,
ago.
yeah, the Mike Riley.
The Mike Riley, yeah. The Tanner Lee to Stanley Morgan late in the game. How about that? So Scott Frost looking for his first road win at Nebraska. He can get it against a bitter rival in Colorado. They'll kick that game off 2:30 on Saturday. It's on Fox.